Hi, I'm Lisa Petrich. I'm the youth director here at Unity of Olympia, and I am so happy you joined me here today. We are going to be continuing our series on finding your Zen, and our topic today is from the top and our inner critic. So if you will, please join me in prayer before we're going to get our candle and we're going to get our prayerful self. And the candle reminds us of the Christ light within inside us and within inside each and every one of us. And say this prayer with me, please. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing us here together today. May we live, love, and grow from one another. May we be present and mindful of our own self-awareness. Thank you. That was a nice prayer. Let's go to our quote for today. It's from E.B. White. And it says, always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. And that is E.B. White. We'll talk more about that later. Let's go ahead and talk about our mindfulness tool today. So our mindfulness tool today is to do a little art. Our mindfulness tool is about taking the time and space to color and taking the time and space to process. So let's say you're having a real big feeling and you're just having a hard time. You could draw a quick little scribble on a piece of paper. You could draw it just like that. You could scribble like this, okay? And the trick is to be able to take that and then think about what you want to make with that and how you want to decorate it. So for instance, I did it with this one, and I did it this way. And I just listened to some music this morning, and while I was listening, actually I was listening to a talk that we'll talk about later. And while I was listening, I was coloring. I was just doodling is what we call it. And here's another one I had done earlier this week. This one had a little bit more intention to it. It was about everything I was feeling as throughout the week and all the little details I took care of. And I really appreciate my art teacher, Rose Aiken, as the art teacher at Lacey Elementary. And she kind of led us through a process of doing this, which is reminding me that kids can do this too, that this is a fun mindfulness tool. You could put on a little bit of music, you could start just scribbling it out, and you could add details as you wish. You could maybe bring out some watercolors or some colored pencils or some crayons, and you could make this your own piece of art. Notice it's a small notebook. It's just a small sketchbook. It doesn't have to be a big project. Now, somebody I know did it on a paper bag. So it was a little bit bigger of a project for her to do it on a paper bag than it was for me to do in a little sketchbook. So you choose. You choose how big that project is. All right. Thank you for that. That was fun. And I'm hoping if you do it, send me some pictures of what you do. I would always love to see how you're using mindfulness throughout your week. Okay, we're going to talk this week. We're going to move into moving. We are moving into moving. So our last time, it's like we've gone from the focus card to the calm cards, and now we're going to be talking about different ways we can move to be mindful with our body. So read with me, please. Mindfulness involves noticing your feelings, thoughts, and sensations. It can be easier to notice things when you move. Moving mindfully is about listening to your body and paying attention even when you're doing things you wouldn't normally think about, like walking. All right, and let's see if we can go to the back of this card. Talks a little bit more about that. All right. Reaching, stretching, and bending are big ways to move. Circling, twisting, and rotating help us loosen our bodies. And our bodies are amazing tools for strength and movement. So we're going to do a movement called from the top. And this is one, it says to stand up, but you can do it sitting. And it's basically about taking and sitting up straight with your spine very straight, and then taking your neck and just gently moving it from this side to the other side. being mindful of how your neck feels. It can go, I know a lot of you probably are like, I can do it really fast, and that's not what we want to do. We want to do it mindfully, so that means we do it slowly, and we see how our neck feels. How far can you get your neck on one side? Can you get your neck to the same point on each side? Or is one side looser than the other? Then maybe take and circle your shoulders a little bit as you do it. And you're breathing in and out. You're using your mindful breathing. So I'm going to go ahead and breathe in like I'm smelling a flower. And as I breathe out, I'm going to bring my neck up. Breathe in. Breathe out. And this just helps your body, just for you to be mindful if anything's going on. And how your neck feels and shoulders feel. Sometimes we can be in one position too long, and we need to move and think about what our body's feeling at the moment. I can do that at a computer. I can be sitting there and just going along and typing and doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and the next thing you know, I've been sitting there for like an hour or two, and I haven't moved my body at all. So moving your body, even in small, subtle ways, can help you be mindful of what you need and what maybe that you need to do for self-care and self-love, like we've talked about before. All right, good tool, good tool. Now we're going to talk about our Made Out of Stars quote. Now this is kind of a big quote today, and I really had to dig deep. I had to really think about it. So the quote says, "The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions." The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. And that's from Leonardo da Vinci, a famous artist. Now, in preparation for today, I listened to a video of Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle, and they were having a conversation in the state of Hawaii in October in 2009, so 11 years ago or so. And one of the first things Wayne mentioned was a poem he likes to read from an infamous poet, Mary Oliver. Then he goes on to say that Mary Oliver tells us this about living our life. Pay attention, be astonished, and tell other people. Pay attention, be astonished, and tell other people. So making these videos is my way of telling others what I've learned and what I've been astonished by. So one thing I've learned is that many of us have a limited viewpoint of ourselves. We go through life reacting and thinking we are our thoughts. We are sometimes miserable, and yet we get stuck in our thinking and our beliefs about ourselves. So have you ever been told or thought, maybe, I'm too shy, yeah, I'm lazy, I'm outspoken, I can be different things, right? And can you identify character traits about yourself that feel as if they're negative? So what do you tell yourself? And that's your inner critic there. What are you saying to yourself that maybe isn't of a positive nature? So this is the key. Wayne and Eckhart also talked about our true essence. Our true essence is unconditioned, timeless consciousness, spacious presence, and it has nothing to do with our thinking mind, our history, or our future. Our true essence doesn't have anything to do with our thinking mind. And it also is this unlimited consciousness that we are still trying to connect to, that I think on a regular basis, we are not really aware of that consciousness. We are usually just kind of going through life, maybe doing our homework, going to school, listening to our parents, looking at our texts, playing video games, all the fun things we like to do. But when you take this moment for spiritual consciousness, you awaken. So, they also referred to our essence as an eternal subject, and it feels a sense of deep aliveness. So with this consciousness, I want you to ask yourself, what truly matters about how you perceive yourself in the world around you? What truly matters about how you perceive yourself in the world around you? If your spiritual essence is to be an observer and to recognize your connection to all of life, these negative aspects of yourself don't carry much weight because they are limited beliefs, and it's time for a holy shift. Take anything you are feeling that isn't of a higher consciousness and transform it into a positive aspect. Lazy can be self-nurturing. Shy can be introspective. That means you're thinking about yourself. You're a thinker. Talkative can be a good communicator. Bossy can be a delegator or a leader. And outspoken can also be a leader. Remember, your inner critic cannot change the essence of who you are that is described as a timeless consciousness, a spacious presence, a child of the universe that is connected to all living things. You are consciousness, and when you recognize this gift, you wake up and see life from a new perspective. And then through that consciousness, you have a sense of deep aliveness. All right, let's bring it back. So using the earlier quote can give perspective on the quote from the book Made Out of Stars. So the earlier quote said, always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. If man's opinion of himself is deception, then being on the lookout for the presence of wonder can be an awakening. E.B. White, if you don't know, is the person who wrote the Charlotte's Web. It's a beautiful story about a relationship between a spider and a pig. This has awakened a sense of wonder in children for a long time. So now you need to find something that gives you a sense of wonder. You will know what it is when it encourages you to stop and be in the present moment. It can be a sunset, the fall colors, a beautiful piece of art or music, or maybe it's just as simple as a flower or a leaf or a spider's web. So this week, be on the lookout for something that brings you a sense of wonder to remind you of your own true spiritual essence. Then take out your journal page and put pen to paper and write. Identify 3 traits in yourself that you have trouble accepting. 3 traits. And then I want you to write one positive thing for each of those traits. One positive thing. See it differently. Do a holy shift. Look at yourself through a different perspective. When you transform your inner critic into a reflection of your transform your inner critic into a reflection of your inner essence. This is from the journal Made Out of Stars by Mira Lee Patel that you can see on your screen. That was I really enjoyed putting that together. So this is some deep thoughts there, and maybe listening to it a couple times so that we can really get it. But the true wonderment of it all is just seeing the beauty and the wonder of the life that we have. All right, we're going to move on to our Bob Sima. So let's listen to a little bit of Bob Sima. Your words often fail to sell. The nuance of emotion, you try to speak so loud. Your actions are to speak louder than your words. All right. And that gave us a little bit of a tie-in there to our great Bob Sima, who has given us such great wisdom through his cards and the Soul of the Song cards. And this one is, and that song was How You Made Them Feel. This card is called Presence. Long after you're gone, your feeling lives on and on. And it's from his album Thin Little Veil. Let's see what he has to say about this. His wisdom, Bob Sima wisdom. The feeling you have when they walk in the room is likely the feeling you will remember long after they're gone. As Maya Angelou said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. It is not necessarily the first impression that is most important. It is the lasting impression that will remain. The lasting impression is the feeling you elicit from within others. How do we elicit a feeling? We live from the heart. We show up fully present, fully engaged, and fully ourselves. People want our attention, not our stuff, our stories, or even our wisdom. The single most important person is precisely the one standing in front of you. Be present, be available, and be immortally beautiful. So our commitment this week, I will show up for everyone I meet today with open ears, open arms, and an open heart. Say that with me. I will show up for everyone I meet today with open ears, open arms, and an open heart. Very good, very good. Some great wisdom there. And kind of is a little different than what I was saying, because people want our attention, not our stuff, our stories, or even our wisdom. Well, sometimes we do need our wisdom and each other's wisdom to be able to remind us who we really are. So, I really want to make sure I'm mindful about being present for myself as well as being present for others. And you too, you too. All right, we are already at the end of our talk today. So much we have learned, so much we have talked about. And these are our 5 basic unity principles that we go by. Number 1, God is good and active in everything everywhere. Number 2, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. Number 3, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. Number 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. Number 5, I do and give my best by living the truth. By living the truth I know, I make a difference. Now, which one of these do you think was most present in the talk today? That's something you could also tell me if you watch the video. You could send me a quick note and say, which one did you think was the most present in our talk today, and which one calls to you the most to practice on a regular basis for your own spiritual practice. All right, we're going to go to our prayer of protection. This is from my summer at the beach. Feels like such a long time ago now with all the winter feel or the fall feel, the crispness in the air. All right, prayer for protection. Say it with me, please. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'll see you next week.